Forrest Gump. This movie and film is a film that has an idea for a lot of people. It's an interesting movie and it's definitely one of my favorites. The screenplay by Eric Roth has a lot of complexity. The film is about this young man called Forrest Gump, who's played by Tom Hanks. Forrest has an IQ of 75. Because of this, he's not socially accepted, and the people he's around with and he meets try to avoid him. But despite this fact, he actually gains success and becomes involved in major and multiple events in American history between the 50s and the 80s. One of my favorite aspects in the movie is Gump's interaction with other people. The flashback we are shown in the start of the movie definitely gives us a picture of how Forrest Gump's childhood was like. He's this boy, young little boy who's misunderstood and lonely. Everything thinks he's if everyone thinks he's a weirdo, and there's only two persons who understand him: his mother, but she doesn't really count, and this girl named Jenny, who actually accepts her. Jenny is an interesting character. Jenny and Forrest develop a unique relationship, which we follow the rest of the film. These parallel destinies is quite interesting because in the beginning it's Jenny who accepts Forrest and who be with Forrest and helps Forrest. But at the end of the film, it's Forrest who accepts Jenny and helps Jenny. This is a interesting plot and thing in the film. I personally like this. But Jenny is not the only person Forrest make a bond with. Other notable characters as Bubba and Lieutenant Dan are both characters who accept Forrest. And an interesting trait that Forrest has is the urge to protect those who mean something for him. Another trait Forrest possesses is his capability to see even the darkest things with happiness, honesty, and niceness. The film starts in Alabama. Forrest's mother fight for his son. She fight for Forrest could receive the same educational rights as others, and that her son could feel equal to other people. Many of the famous quotes comes from her mother. For example, life is like a box of chocolate, or stupid ass was you do does it. Yeah. Later in the story, Forrest actually gets a scholarship because he's exceptional at running. Yeah. After college, he decides to fight in the Vietnam War, and after that, because of that, he receives a medal. Because in the war, he managed to save several men in the war, inclusive Bubba, who unfortunately passed away. But at his last breath, Forrest promised him to buy a shrimp boat, and he does. Another character Forrest who saves is Lieutenant Dan. Lieutenant Dan lives a miserable Bubba Gump. Yeah, it's merchandise. Tourist. Yeah. Another character Forrest managed to save is Lieutenant Dan. Lieutenant Dan have this idea that he should die in war. It's his destiny to die in war. But Forrest saved him and he feels like a loser. He feels like a miserable loser in the community. He has a terrible feeling about himself. But Forrest helped him, and together they derive this shrimp company called Bubba Gump, named after Bubba, his friend, and Gump. And as you can see, it's quite a brand, merchandise brand. These is some of the things that are interesting and in this movie, and it's a movie who has taken America and the rest of the world with storm. It has had major effects on the world. Yeah, it's been a bestseller, if you can say that inside of films. So, that was all for Sebastian recommendation.